Hello everyone and welcome to Season 16 of 2S ACC Championship. It is myself, Christian Stricker, and I'm joined here today in Competizione by Aidan Bailey. And this is the first round we have of Season 16 here at a very wet and rainy Oulton Park, which reminds me a lot of the British GT race that was run a couple weekends ago, where it was also very wet and rainy.
Very similar, isn't it? I know we have a couple people from the server that went there, and they were absolutely soaked through by the time that they were finished.
Yeah, I remember.
Not going to be much different today.
Definitely not. I remember receiving a picture from one of the drivers on the grid today with his car being stuck. Had to call out a towing company. And
oh yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, and luckily he got unstuck, but also I saw quite a lot of chaos online about people having issues at the racetrack. So if you are joining us today, make sure you're in a dry and safe area, and we hope that no one else's car gets stuck tonight.
We should be fine. Sim racing bonus.
Indeed. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. You don't have to leave your place. It's great. Brilliant. You can even be in your bed. Sleep if you want. It's up to you.
Perfect.
That's why we love sim
for
racing.
Antisocial.
The anti-social social gathering we have at the moment. Anyways, a few new faces I want to quickly mention for this race. We have Mike Jones, all the way from England in the Aston Martin, and he's joined us on the grid. Never seen him before, and I was watching him during practice, and he seems to be quite potentially a contender for the championship. We'll have to see how that pans out over the span of the season.
Quite a few of the new drivers. We've got quite a few new drivers this time round, and they're looking decent.
For sure, indeed. We also have Stefan Achim, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, from Romania, with a custom livery of Brute Racing, so I wonder if that is his own team that he races for in Romania. Could be. Welcome to us, Achim or Asim. You'll have to correct me afterwards. I do apologize for any names I might get wrong. Then we also have Michael Albert from France, running the ProTech McLaren. We have Samuel Mendez from France as well, also running a ProTech McLaren. So these are two teammates, I reckon, going in together. And I just realized we didn't have the quality times. Let's put the quality times on. There you go. After that we have Maxime Bespalier. Again, I do apologize for any names I do get wrong, who has joined us in a McLaren. Nicolas Belanger from ProTech as well. Seems like ProTech has sort of joined into 2S a little bit, which will be very interesting to see how they perform. I think if it's a professional esports team, we might have some quite talented drivers on our hand, or some academy drivers who will be raising through the ranks. Finally, we have Filip Sujak from Poland, also running a McLaren. It's a bit of and he does a big spin as I do his introduction. It is a very wet, rainy track today, and I think a lot of drivers will be caught out by the weathers. However, I think most of them will be used to rain at the moment. But currently, we have Michael Albert on pole position.
It should be interesting. Albert is, of course, one of our newer drivers. Sam, who is normally very quick, not top today. So I think it'll be interesting. The rain's going to make it especially spicy.
For sure, and they're saying that Sam has just put it up into P2 at the moment. He is running it seems to be a Red Bull livery of Verstappen Racing. Interesting. Oh, it's not a custom livery, okay. So I just wondered if it was a custom livery, it's not. But anyways, so Sam Chumley, he hung up his racing shoes a couple seasons ago, had a bit of a break, decided, you know what, it's time to get back, grabbed the good old vacuum cleaner and de-dusting tools, ripped his sim rig out from wherever he had it stored, and then set it up again, ready to race. And he literally, I believe, today is the first day he sets a few laps again in quite a few months. So he might be dusting off the cobwebs a bit, but I will think, or I believe, he will probably get back into it very quickly in no time.
Oh, Sam's always quick, isn't he? It doesn't take him long to get back up to speed. He's won 3 championships now, I think. I want to say 3.
I believe
it's a lot.
He was the first triple championship winner at 2S, or was that Dom?
I think it was Dom.
Anyways, both of them have won 3 championships. Let's
Yes.
put it that way, and there's a good reason for that. Both very consistent, very quick drivers. So he is definitely one to reckon for the championship fight at the moment, but he is 1.7 seconds off currently of pole position, which is being held by Nico Veldman. Not saying that he wait, how do I, let's say, he is the admin of 2S, and he definitely has I would say maybe, but without knowing how the other drivers have been, probably the most experience on ACC. He's been racing with us since season 1 and hasn't missed a race, apart from one, I think, in total, ever since season 1. And he has won a championship too, so Nico Veldman definitely one to watch out for, and he does currently sit on pole position.
Driving a car that he's not really driven much. I know he's been driving it a lot recently since the Nordschleife came out, but he's normally an Audi man. So we'll see how that change fares for him.
That's very true. We used to call him the Audi merchant, and I think that's because he ran it 6 seasons in a row or something along those lines. And that's this car he was seeing a lot of success in. That definitely is the car he has enjoyed the most to drive. And when talking to him about the Nordschleife, he said Audi felt great, Porsche felt very unstable, but he seems to sort of ironed out the nooks and crannies of that car and understood it a little bit better, as he has put on pole position in the wet, might I add, for the moment.
Porsche is a difficult car to drive in the dry, never mind the wet. So if he can keep pole position, it's a pretty good achievement, to be fair.
Oh, it is for sure, but there are some quick drivers behind, and I'm currently trying to look at the lap time deltas. No one is currently setting a blistering lap time. Mike Jones is, however, positive on his lap time delta. It won't currently be enough to upset anyone at the top of the table. However, he does have half a lap to go, and he could potentially knock out or knock a couple places down on the leaderboard. Let's see how he does in the final few corners, coming up to the final corner now after the straight. Let's go right on board, see how he is able to navigate the final right-hander before we go back onto the start-finish straight. Very technical track, Oulton Park. A lot of people like to call it a bit of a mini Nürburgring or mini Nordschleife, and for a long time that was the case, but now we have the actual Nordschleife of the game, which is brilliant. Mike Jones does set a better lap time, but only jumps up to P6 from Sam Mendes.
He's very close to Chonley in front. I think we'll see better times from a few people, but it is still raining. So
it is raining, and crucially as well, if you look at the top right, it is getting worse, the rain. So I think the conditions might have already peaked. If not, oh, as I cut to Nicolas Belangner, he was on for, I saw his delta go green, and I think I know why. It seems like he outbroke himself into turn one. So, oh, he's gained 2 seconds, and we cut to him, and well, he's in the gravel. Very unfortunate.
For a little spin as you cut away.
Yeah, and these
tricky conditions out there.
Yeah, these McLarens look a bit like a handful. They're known to be quite stable cars, but they don't seem very stable today, I'll tell you that. But is any car stable in this weather? I'm not sure. Maybe the Aston Martin. They used to be known as could probably drive a race on ice and not get any oversteer.
You say that, he did spin, so
yeah, it's been a while since I've partaken in a race myself, so I'm a bit behind on the car knowledge currently. But anyways, Nico Veldman on another flying lap, currently 3/10 on his delta is positive, but also behind him with Michael Albert, also 3/10 positive on his delta. So they'll come towards the end of the lap. It could be very interesting to see which one of these two drivers eke it out ahead. Saying that though, Albert has just invalidated his lap.
Just so that you can still improve your lap time though. The conditions aren't getting bad enough. So we might still see some improvement from a lot of the drivers, yeah.
That's very true. And one driver improving a lot is Sam Chumley in the first sector. He's already made 6/10, and this is the sort of Sam we're used to seeing. Just go run a bit wide there, compromising his exit. He loses 2/10 in his exit in himself, which will end up being around 3/10 by the time he gets to this breaking point. Let's see how he navigates through this small mini chicane. Is it a chicane? I don't even know if it's a chicane. It's a tight right left-hander. Onto the isn't straight, I guess you could call it. Oh.
Right, so it's not just mine that's doing that.
Interesting. We'll skip. Anyways, Sam Chumley is actually currently 8/10 up on his lap time, which could see him in the top 3, depending on how he navigates these final few corners. He's got the start-finish line ahead of him, runs out nice and wide onto the curves, not too slippery today, don't see him, and he comes to the finish line where it's going to be, and he puts it up into P4 at the moment.
Good improvement. 7 temps.
Good improvement indeed from Sam. And it seems there is another driver who's improving drastically at the moment. That is Samuel Mendes. He is 7 tenths up on his lap time before he's even hit the sort of mini chicane where we saw Sam lose a lot of time. And we see how Mendes navigates his way through this chicane. Loses 1/10, but is able to gain it back on the corner exit. So he won't lose time overall when he gets into the next braking zone. And with the current pace he's at, he could potentially be seeing a spot, maybe even P5 or probably P6. We'll see once he crosses the finish line, but he's still maintaining that 7 tenths on his best lap time, and see how he gets through this last few corners. They're probably the trickiest corners on this track. I think a lot of people struggle with the chicane and the hairpin, but this is usually where I lose a lot of time myself, personally, when I race this track.
I love this track. This is my favourite track. Not just in ACC, just in racing in general. Which is a questionable one. I'll give people that. I just find it so fun.
It is a controversial take, but it's one I understand. I would always consider this Oulton Park to be a very hot lapping track. Not the best for racing, but for hot lapping it's brilliant. And I also sort of consider Zandvoort the same. However, we still have the old Zandvoort layout. I'd love to see what the new Zandvoort layout is like to drive in ACC. We have Michael Albert coming towards the start-finish line now, and he is on a really good flying lap. This could be a potential new pole position we have on track, and yes it is. With a 1:37.1, Albert puts himself into provisional pole position, up to Nico now to knock him off his... Oh, this is a Ferrari spinning there in the end, and it seems like Albert is very happy with his lap time, parks his car, and is now going to play the waiting game to see if anyone's able to top it. Currently, it does not seem like he is going to be challenged. Nico will have a chance to finish this lap, but he is 3 tenths down on his personal best at the moment, so Veldman has a lot
Very strong time
ahead of him to be able to knock or regain that pole position he had for quite some time.
Will Nico will get back to do another lap though, providing he has the fuel. But he's going to have one more shot.
Yeah. I seem to be having issues with Sam Chumley. Every time the camera's on Sam Chumley, it...
Mine is doing the same. So Sam is cursed. You're not getting any stream time, Sam.
Sam comes back after 2 seasons and instantly causes chaos. It's good to have him back.
It is good to have him back. It's nice to see familiar faces, as much as it is to expand the league and see all you new people there as well.
Very much so. It's great to welcome in new faces. I will try Sam Chumley one more time on the helicam. We've got the final corner now. He's got quite a good lap time on his hand. Will it be enough for P2, or is he going to be sat in P3 after knocking Priatko off that position? He just about pits Priatko, and he will start on the second row in P3 behind what is probably either Nico Veldman or Albert. However, Veldman at the moment is not setting a fast enough lap time to knock Albert off his pedestal, so it'll be very interesting to see if Nico can find a bit of more time come the end of his lap, but all eyes on him at the moment because there is only one man who is able to knock Michael Albert off that provisional pole position, and that is Nico Veldman currently.
Very strong lap. It's set it at a very good time as well. It puts a lot of pressure on Nico to get it within his last couple of laps, which unfortunately, a bit of a slide. Well, that would be qualifying done for Nico there.
He's bailed out of it, and that is that. So that is our qualifying positions. We have Michael Albert in pole position, or his first pole position here at 2S in his first race. Well done, congratulations. Followed by Nico Veldman, Sam Chumley, Priatko, Achim, Mendes, Jones, Sujak, Bespalji, Belanga, Preem, Smelt, and Meersman. We've got an exciting race ahead of us. Only 13 drivers, but it doesn't mean it's going to be a bad race. We're gonna, I think, from the qualifying times, we can see a few. I can see a few of fights happening in the field, and I think Jasper Smelt and Jos Meersman, they have both decided to not set a quality laps, and we'll try a little bit of a the first challenge, or at least last the podium challenge, because we've seen them before. And we know that both these drivers are quite talented.
Yeah, neither of them are particularly slow. I reckon both of them will be able to. They'll be pushing up as far as they can. Hopefully, make for some interesting overtakes and an interesting race.
For sure. I've just been catching up on the commentary the chat, so to say. It is our very own Ben Lowe's in chat saying he's driving home, so he hopes for a clean race. But he's also been, quote unquote, cheating. I wouldn't say that's cheating, but seems like he's only wanting to participate in the final round with the Nordschleife racetrack.
I believe he's been there today.
I believe he has. I saw also another 2S member there today, so that would make sense.
Yeah.
Has he been on track in himself, or has he been to visit? Do you know?
I don't know. I know he's definitely been watching. I don't know if he's been on track himself though. Wouldn't surprise me. He does a lot.
He does. It's basically his local racing track at this point, and he I've been invited along a couple. Well, I wouldn't say okay. I've been invited along once, but unfortunately it couldn't work out with the timings. And I'd love to try at least this year, if not next year, try join them when they do end up going again. So
I definitely want to try to get over at some point.
Yeah, what we need to do is we need to rent a Hyundai i20N. Have some fun, basically. I know there's a lot of track toys you can, or companies that allow you to rent track toys with an instructor, and then you can have a lap around the track. Which I'm definitely looking forward to see if that's a possibility for this year. If not, there's always next year and the year after.
Always.
So, pole position, Michael Albert, congratulations, and followed by Nico Veldman and Sam Chumley. Here you see in the Ferrari. Then we have Priatko on the right with Achim. We have a bit of a gap with two McLarens here and Mendes. Splitting the McLarens is an Aston Martin of Mike Jones, and we have Sujak, Bespalli, sorry if I pronounced that. We have Belange, Ricardo Priem, Jasper Smelt, and Jos Meersman. It seems to be a bit of a Ferrari versus McLaren horse race today. However, we do have one Porsche and one Aston Martin to split the crowd.
The McLaren's a very popular option at the moment, isn't it? I know it's a good car. I think they're all fairly balanced at the moment, though, the cars, aren't they? Especially with having the BOP applied.
I believe so, but I do remember seeing something along the lines of when it comes to the Nordschleife racetrack, I can't remember if it was the BMWs or the McLarens or Lexus that were seen. The multiple, do a little bouncing. Multiple seconds faster than the other cars.
Yeah, the BMW is crazy fast around there. And the Lexus as well. The front engine cars, basically.
Yeah. But the Lexus always has been known for its top speed, so I assume that's why it's been a strong contender around the Nordschleife. I'm gonna open my drink. And let me know what you guys are drinking if you're enjoying this evening. Refresh myself, and we'll go into this race. We have Albert leading the pack, Nico Velman following, and we're gonna have an interesting race on our hands. There is one person in the pit lane, or is that my game being funny? There's no person in the pit lane.
No, there is not.
It is Sam Chumley's car being interesting.
I'm drinking Council Pop, by the way.
What is a Council Pop?
Council Pop is tap water.
Ah! That's a bit of slang I've never heard of.
It's very British, I feel like.
Yeah. Is it a northern thing?
Very northern
Council
British,
Pop?
yeah. It's definitely a northern thing.
It's quite funny.
It's something I've always, my parents have always said it. They used to trick me when I was a kid, saying, I used to ask for Council Pop, thinking, oh, it tastes so much better than water does. And I was mortified when I got told.
It's been the water you've been drinking all your life anyways.
Yeah.
Well, I was in a pub, and there's some American who sat next to me. She was sort of asking, oh yeah, I just want a club soda. I was thinking, what is a club soda? And the bartender sort of looked at her and she was like, oh, what do you mean club soda? We don't have a soda on the house. And she's like, you know, like carbonated water. And I was like, oh, okay. So apparently in America, club soda is carbonated water or sparkling water.
I've never known what it was. I've always been confused. But that makes a lot of sense, to be fair. I didn't know if it was like, do you know, like cream soda?
Mm.
I thought maybe it'd be something like that.
I thought it was something. I thought it was more like tonic water or something along those lines. But anyways, figured it out in the end. I was quite surprised. First time I heard of that. My years of living. Anyways, Nico Veldman sort of jumping ahead a little bit. He's very eager to get going, and it looks like Albert is slowly but surely making his way back into position as all the cars will line up to their starting formation. He's got one corner left to go before the lights go green, and all the racing at season 16 for the 2S ACC season begins.
Nearly there. Should be a good season, I feel like.
Should be
lots of exciting racetracks to come up.
Yeah. For some reason, it says on my Delta that Sam Chumley is in P2, even though he did not qualify in P2. He qualified in P3, so I'm a bit confused what's happened there.
Mine also says that.
But hopefully, it will sort itself up by the time the race starts. We're about to cross the line. It is green lights, and Albert is leading the pack with Nico Veldman behind, jumping very well ahead of the two drivers behind. So Nico Veldman trying to do around the outside into turn 1, not quite making it stick. Sam Chumley following very closely behind. Michael Alberti is still ahead. Sam Chumley seems to be having a bit of issues with the connection, but no position changes in the top 4 at the moment. It's not really been any hard overtakes currently. Michael Albert seems to be leading his way into the next few corners of the hairpin with a good gap behind him, covering off any potential overtakes from Nico Veldman. Although Nico Veldman does a great corner, but is not able to capitalize on Albert's mistake. There's already a pack of 3 sort of driving away a bit from Andrew Priatko, who is in P4, who has the company of Samuel Mendes and Stefan Achim behind him. There is yellow flags in the back. There are some accident of some sort.
They were too wide going into the corner on the straight, and Smelt just got pushed a little bit wide. And once you're on the grass here, that's it. You're just coasting then. Yeah,
it is very slippery, especially when wet. And we will try and get a replay of that in a moment's time. We'll just see if there's anyone else trying to make an overtake. Oh, and just as I'm thinking about that, Samuel Mendes goes off track. And I wonder if there was contact. Let's have a look and see if there was any contact. There's another car going off track in the background. There was indeed contact with the number 84 of Andrew Priatko between Samuel Mendes. Then we leave that down to the FIA to decide who is at fault. And then in the background you see the McLaren spinning off all by himself. And that is, again, Preem off the track having to let through Mendes and Belanger. No, sorry, not Belanger. Beersman, I believe.
Been a little bit of a chaotic first lap. I'd imagine things will calm down slightly now, but it's very close between the front two. They're both properly gunning for it.
I do think this battle between Nico Veldman and Michael Albert will continue all throughout the race. But let's have a look at the replay between Jasper Smelt and the number 39 car. So what is it that happened? He goes into the McLaren. Off the track he goes. Is sort of able to keep it on track, I believe. Doesn't seem to get any damage, but that is very unfortunate indeed. There's another car on yellows, and that is the number 78 of Samuel Mendes. I don't know why he's got yellow flags, but it seems like he's got quite a lot of front damage now, and that is Sujak behind, trying to make an overtake at the moment.
Still, the carnage continuing into lap 2. But Oulton, that tends to happen a lot at Oulton, because it's a very tight track. When you're trying to overtake, it can get a bit close sometimes.
It can indeed, and the top 3 are still all within a hair width of each other, and I'm just looking at the weather forecast, and it seems the rain is going to get heavier and heavier. So I hope that the drivers will be looking out for the pressures, and it could be more of a pit stop race than it is in the pit stops or the pit strategy where they win this race, because at the moment the pace seems very similar, although Nico Veldman seems to be trying to capitalize a bit on a mistake that Albert did, but is nowhere near close enough to do that. And Sam Chumley, we do have to apologize for the cutting back to the pit lane that happens every now and then, but it seems like Sam Chumley has an unstable connection, and we'll just hope that it's on our side and not on the driver's side as well. Saying that though, that is Michael Albert going off the track, going wide, and that is Nico Veltman taking the position before the second corner, sorry, but he will have the outside line, allowing Albert to go up the inside, yet again defending his position in P1. Sam Chumley is going to get in on the action, trying to overtake Nico Veltman before the fast left-hander going into the hairpin. It's going to be very interesting to see which of these drivers head out in front. Sam Chumley does make the overtake, Nico Veltman has to back out, goes onto the grass, loses a load of time. I wouldn't say he was pushed up, but he does indeed have to take avoiding action of some sort. And that was hard and fair racing. I think Nico Veltman just caught a little bit of grass. That meant he got coasted out to...
Yes, tucks you in once you touch it a little bit. But this is the racing we want.
It is indeed. It only took a couple of laps and Nico Veltman already there to capitalize on the mistake of Albert. Unfortunately, he made a mistake on his own. He has to do that job all over again. But right behind Albert is Samuel Chumley, ready to pounce.
Further back as well, then. Really close. There's a couple cars out there fairly alone after certain instants, but there's a group of another 4 that are all very close. So we've got the fight of 3 going up front.
There's Jos Meersman off the track, and that's going to allow the number 39 McLaren behind him. Oh, sorry, not McLaren, Ferrari behind him. Oh, he goes off track again, and that is Mike Jones avoiding action in the Aston Martin as the Ferrari of Belanger goes along. Mike Jones onto the grass. He's going to lose a load of traction. Goes into the Sonico barriers, loses out 2 positions behind with Ricardo Preem. And that is, that's the number 39 Ferrari off the track yet again. And Mike Jones and Belanger, through no fault of anyone else, fell off the track. And then behind, Belanger is getting fought hard by Mike Jones. We'll see who makes it out of the corner first ahead. Again, Mike Jones seems to have gone a little bit deep, and that is Belanger who maintains his position for now, even having lost out afterwards. Compared to Jos Meersman and Ricardo Preeman.
The weather conditions worsening seems to be catching a couple drivers out, losing a bit of grip, bit less grip compared to what they had in the last lap, having to take a little bit less speed through. It's going to happen all the way through this race. The weather continues as it is, so which it's looking like it's just going to keep getting worse and heavier.
Yeah, it is very tricky conditions. It is every single corner you go into, it's going to be less grip, more wet, more puddles compared to the last lap, and that is very tricky to navigate. As your braking points from one lap to the next can change by a couple of meters, maybe even tens of meters. Now that could be the difference between getting a corner right and absolutely sending it into someone else, or crashing off the track yourself.
There's a lot of hard braking points in Oulton as well, and there's a lot of fast corners on the straight as well. On the straights, which can be very slippy if you're not careful.
Yeah, and there's an example from the rear wing of Albert. Sam Chumley goes a little bit deep and he gets a poor exit, losing him almost a whole full second in that attempt. I wouldn't say an overtake attempt, but definitely an attempt to close in the lap time. Nico Veltman, interestingly, goes into the pit lane. I wonder if he's been suffering from any damage, or he's decided to change to a new set of tyres now, go long, and then hopefully not be caught up in any traffic and just run his own race and try an undercut maneuver. But it is very early for Nico Veltman to be going into the pit lane.
We'll give him complete no traffic. We'll see if it works out. When it's wet, because it's wet, the tyre wear doesn't really make much of a difference. The pressures, however, make a huge difference with it getting even wetter.
Yeah, it could very well be that Nico Veltman did not get his pressures right and he's got interchanged them. Stefan Achim off the track into, seems like it'd be a bit of a big spin by himself. Let's have a look. Oh, we didn't, unable to catch that on the replay. But he's gone off track. It doesn't look like he's hit a barrier. It looks like the car has stopped before he managed to rejoin the track, but that was definitely cost him quite a lot of time. I didn't see any incidents in the contact tool, so it could be a solo crash. Interestingly, I see a contact with Nico Veltman solo. Could this be... Okay, I was wondering if this was a solo accident, but it looks like it was just a little bit of the rubbing we had earlier with the race between the top 3, where you see Sam Chumley coming from the inside, having a brilliant run out of the corner, Nico Veltman pushing himself out slightly. There was no malicious driving there from Sam Chumley. It was Nico Veltman, unfortunately, just caught a bit of grass and was unable to recover quite quickly and lost quite a lot of time.
From that. I think it is definitely a strategic pit stop that he's done.
Definitely
A
seems
little
like
bit of
it.
a reset as well for himself, I would imagine.
Yes. Mike Jones now on the back of Belange was low-key looking for a little bit of an overtake there, but sort of slotted in right behind him again, waiting for a bit more of an opportunistic moment to occur. We're getting a little bit sideways there on the exit, and I think that is trying to avoid the car ahead of him. Looks like the Ferrari's got a poor exit there. Aston Martin going up the inside. Is he going to be able to make the overtake into P9? Oh, Ferrari going deep on the brakes. A little bit of contact on the exit of the corner, getting pushed off the track. It's the Ferrari Belange, but Belange is not able to maintain it, and he goes into the barrier. And that was contact racing between Mike Jones and Belange, and we'll have to wait and hear what the stewards have to say about that one.
That was unfortunate there. Again, that wouldn't happen if it was dry. The conditions definitely catching people out.
Yeah, Belange spinning on the curbs, which is very unfortunate indeed. And I think it looked like Mike Jones sort of was hoping that Belange wouldn't be that brave on the brakes, and maybe even just understeered off and carried too much speed without realizing it. The conditions definitely make it trickier to do side-by-side racing.
It seemed like it. It seemed like he took a bit too much speed and broke a little bit too late. And it just, in the wet, a little bit too late is a lot too late. You slide very far off. He did well to keep it on the track.
Yeah.
Both cars were going wide through corners.
We have Remco Priem at the moment trying to lay an attack on Stefan Achim. Achim goes a little bit wide. I think Priem gets a better exit, but they're both McLarens and they're quite quick on the straight.
Yeah, the McLarens have always been pretty good on the straights, hasn't it? Sam Chumley is catching back up to Albert in front. The gap is getting smaller after the couple little run wides that he's had.
Yeah.
And he's right up to the back of him again now after it. Albert went a little bit offline, would you say?
Yeah, definitely interesting.
Definitely one. And it'll be interesting to see where Nico comes back into it once all the pit stops have been served.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see if his strategy plays off. It could very well be that it does, and it looks like at the moment that Sam Chumley is close to Albert, but not really close enough to make a charge. The fight for P4 is still ongoing between Priem and Jasper Smelt and Achim. And it seems at the moment Achim is able to maintain the both drivers behind, and at the moment no one is cracking under pressure. However, Jasper Smelt is in probably, I would say, the best position to be in this sort of three-way fight is the position behind, because the only pressure you have to worry about is the guys in front. Priem, he has to be very cautious about his overtakes, because one footstep wrong and he loses his position, and potentially also the position he was about to overtake. So it's going to be very tricky racing from his side indeed.
There's a lot of good racing going on here. Nico catching up to some of the back markers now, making overtakes. He's going to have to do it the hard way though.
Yeah, with the damaged Ferrari, and he goes off track a little bit of contact between both drivers. Ooh, big slide from Nico Veldman. But it looks like he got a much better exit, trying to make his way around that Ferrari, doing all he can to make sure Nico Veldman stays behind. Very interesting to fight quite hard like this, especially considering pit cycles and damage to the car. And there's a yellow flag of the number 18. That is Michael Albert. Is Albert gone off track somewhere? Oh, he does. He has. Albert has gone off track, and that is throwing away the lead back to Sam Chumley's favor. I wonder what's happened there. I don't see any contact. I'll try and catch a replay. It looks like he's just gone a little bit wide onto the corner where Nico Veldman also caught the grass, and that fast left-hander catches everyone now. Hits the barrier slightly. I think it doesn't have too much damage, but he will rejoin his second place. Oh, it does quite a lot of damage on the side of his car there. And that is a very unfortunate mistake from Albert, putting Sam Chumley into the lead of the race.
Yeah, the gap is... I would imagine. Oh, but Sam has just gone off himself. Just going to give Albert a chance to get the gap down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's still going to be nowhere near as much. But
proving these conditions are still very tricky. The battle for P4 continues, but it looks like Priem, in all that commotion, has managed to get ahead of Achim, and Achim now under pressure from Smelt. Smelt going around the outside McLaren versus McLaren. A little bit of touch on the grass that almost sent Smelt off into the barriers, but he does manage to regain himself by the time he gets to the final corner and overtakes. Oh, and that is Ricardo Preem gone off track. So Smelt gets 2 in one corner with, sorry, not Ricardo Preem, Remco Preem going off track, and Achim also being overtaken by Jasper Smelt. So Jasper Smelt up into P4.
Managed to make up some good positions. He could be on for a podium if he can keep pushing the way he is.
Yeah.
Aaron Front's a little bit up the road though, 6 tenths. Oh, sorry, 6 seconds, not 6 tenths.
I'm surprised he's only lost 6 seconds from that incident. I don't think it seems like it would have been more. Or was Sam Chumley's excursion quite a big one?
It wasn't too bad, no. It was just into the sandy pits a bit, or gravel. Managed to get back on track fairly quickly, but he lost a good few seconds, which shows in the time.
Yeah, it'll be very tricky to...
Albert's just got to hope that Sam makes more mistakes as the race goes on. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Yeah, and the weather getting worse and worse.
It is very wet out there, and it's only going to get worse as well.
I think it's reaching the point where any spectator might have to start worrying about their car getting stuck in the muddy car park.
Mr. Chumley's going to be getting PTSD flashbacks. Maybe that's what made him drive off.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't beach his car yet again at Oulton Park, this time on the simulator, with an excursion. And there's another yellow flag. That is the number 99 of Jasper Smelt, who, as we were just saying, he was looking on a potential podium. Huge hit into the barriers. I wonder if there's been contact with anyone. We'll have to try and catch a replay. It doesn't seem like it. Looks like he's just gone into the grass, bounces over a curb, hits slightly the back, and unable to recover the car into a massive pile of tire barriers. And that's a very unfortunate end to Jasper Smelt's charge to the podium, because it was looking possible with Michael Albert having quite a lot of damage needed to be repaired in the pit stops, and that is Jasper Smelt going straight into the pit lane, and an unfortunate end to his podium charge.
That is a shame, isn't it? Hopefully he comes back out, but we'll see. If not, unfortunate. But there's always next week or so. Yeah, he's gone, unfortunately.
It's very unfortunate and the retirement to his race.
But plenty of racing elsewhere going on. Sam has made another mistake somewhere, because the gap is now only 3 seconds between him and Albert. Even less now, sorry. 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, that is definitely what Albert wants to see in his sights, so Sam Chumley up ahead. We'll have to look at the lap times of Sam Chumley. Last lap, Sam Chumley did a 1:39.3. Albert did a 1:38.8, and that is Chumley into the pit lane. So he seems to be wanting to avoid any sort of racing with Albert, but that is going to be interesting to see when Nico Velman pans out in front of Sam or behind, depending on how his undercut strategy has worked out.
Nico Velman coming up to Clay Hill now. He's still got a little bit to get around, but we'll see. I think it's going to be close between them. I have really no idea who's going to get out first. I thought Sam released them. But no, he's still in the pits. We'll see.
Oulton Park again is one of the shortest pit lanes, so when Sam does release, he won't have a long time until he gets out onto track. But Nico Velman seems to be having good momentum out the final corner and has passed Sam while Sam is still stuck in the pit lane. He has not even been released yet, so this few excursions Sam Chumley has had off track has cost him dearly as Nico Velman gets out ahead, and that is a very good indicator of also where Albert will get out ahead, because he was right up behind Sam Chumley when he came into the pit stop, and that is around, I would say, 6-7 seconds Nico Velman has on the two drivers who were fighting for the lead.
Those issues that Nico managed to avoid due to coming in early, it seems to have played off quite nicely for him. We'll see if the other drivers can start to bring that gap again, but all Nico has to do now is drive at a good pace and really bring it home for the next 25 minutes.
And as we've seen today, that is much easier said than done, with all the top drivers, apart from, well, actually all the top drivers making mistakes at some point in the race already. And I think at the moment it's just a survival of the fittest. You can see the weather is still getting worse and worse and worse. So these drivers will still have really tricky conditions to drive in. It's not going to get easier from here. It's only going to get harder. Especially with Nico Weidman now having a little bit of contact between the two McLarens of Remco Priem and Achim. Stefan Achim. And it seems like Priem was unable to make an overtake, but he got a huge overspeed on Achim. And it just seems like Achim sort of pulled a bit to the side. A little bit of contact. Luckily, no one drove off into a barrier. And the positions stay as they are. The Aston Martin of Mike Jones has just joined the fight.
Going to get interesting, this one. There's a couple fights going on around. I would imagine when Albert, who is now in the pits, when he comes out, I have a feeling he's going to be very close to Sam again.
Indeed he is, and
fight all round.
Albert has just been dropped, as you can see on the timing. The small map. And Sam Chumley runs a little bit wide. That's going to allow Albert to potentially regain his position. There's a fight straight out the pit lane. Oh, maybe a little bit of contact between Sam Chumley and Albert. Sam Chumley running off the track and is able to catch his car before it hits a barrier. But that is a huge time loss for Sam Chumley, who now goes down into, I assume, net P3. And Albert up into P2. But that was a battle right out the pit lane.
That's a shame, because they were right there with each other. We could have had some very good racing there.
We could indeed. But it's not over yet, and both Nico Weidman and Albert can make mistakes as it stands. But it seems Nico Weidman's got a huge gap to P2 at the moment, with him coming to the end of the middle straight and Albert just starting it. Remco Priem seems to have made a pass while all that commotion was happening between Sam Chumley and Michael Albert up into what is currently P1 on track. However, after the pit stops, I would assume maybe around P4, maybe P5. And these three have been having quite a good battle all the way through. They've been very swapping positions. A few laps has been Achim, a few laps has been Priem, and Achim goes into the pit lane.
Melt was in there at the time when he was still racing as well. It's been really close. Pit stops will be interesting. There's a lot to go wrong in a pit stop. You've got to make sure you stop in the right position. If you get dragged, you lose so much time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the best stop there from Jones. I think he couldn't properly see his pit box, so he slowed down quite a lot before he actually got to it. So he's going to lose a couple of tenths from that at least. We'll see where that puts him compared to the other cars when he gets dropped and back out there.
We will indeed, and that will be a very interesting fight to see once they do get dropped. At the moment, it seems Nico Weidman 9 seconds behind Priem, who is in the lead. But Nico Weidman has already been in the pit stop, so Priem will have quite some margin to catch up to if he wants to get on the podium. But I do think that if he maintains his consistency, he will at least make a good effort. I don't know if he'll be able to get top 3, but it will be close.
In that time, that slightly iffy pit stop from Jones has really showed how important it is to nail the pit stop, because he's way behind now after being right next to each other going into the pits.
Yeah, I remember when I used to race, it was one of the most annoying things of a race, and I used to call it getting dropped. And it happened quite often for me. I couldn't quite always figure. Oh, as Mike Jones goes off the track into the grass, is he able to keep the car slowed down before he hits the barriers? Yes, he is, and he's got this hazard slide on. I wonder if that was on purpose, or if he seems to have... This might just be me, but it looks to me that he's got slick tires on.
Oh, that would be really unfortunate if so.
Do you know how to tell the difference? I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
I don't think he has slick tires on, but I thought it was, if it's a red wheel, it's a slicks. If it's a white wheel, it is a wet tire. Or is it the tire markings on the side? I can't remember.
I have no idea, unfortunately. He looks like he's got decent enough traction for it to be wet.
Yeah, but he's going very slow. We'll have to ride on board with Mike Jones for a little bit to see if he's... Yeah, okay, no, that is definitely wet tires. So he does have wet tires on. Otherwise he would be understeering all over the gaff. But a very unfortunate excursion from him. Although it seems like he's being very gentle on the throttle. I don't know if he's lost a bit of confidence or what's going on. Or he is actually on slick tires. I'm not sure. Maybe if he goes into pit lane yet again.
Yeah, if he goes into the pit, we'll see. It was just a bit odd the amount of time he slowed down for when he went off the track. It took him a long time to get back on again.
Yeah. He's not sliding everywhere. He seems like a normal wet weather racer, but he's going back into the pit lane. It could very well be that he is on slick tires. We'll have to keep an eye out if there is a change in the tires. So there is currently, it's a red tire with yellow tire markings. Let's have a look and see what it looks like for any of the other drivers at the moment.
Cream also into the pits.
And I think, yeah, he has indeed gone onto the slick tires, because I've just cut to Nico Veldman and he has no tire branding on his tires, and there are also no red sidewalls.
That's really unfortunate. Really unlucky that happens to. I think everybody has a story about when they accidentally put the dryers on in the wet.
Yeah, and that will definitely explain why he left the track the way he did and was going quite slowly in the higher speed corners. Done very well to recover the car, to bring it back to pit lane in a safe manner, but very unfortunate for him indeed. Nico Veldman currently storming ahead, and he seems to be putting on best lap after best lap
Ending his lead.
compared to Michael Albert. This last lap from Nico Veldman was 39.4, and the last lap from Michael Albert a 140. However,
Family also not too far behind again.
saying that though, Sam Chumley did a 39.1, so Sam Chumley is gaining onto Michael Albert.
Interesting. Sam seems quick, but little bit incident prone. So we'll see how it pans out. Obviously, it's been a while since he's raced. He's lacking a little bit of confidence. And as good as Sam is, it does take you a little bit to get used to how driving the sim feels. It can take some adjustment again, especially with a car that he's not completely familiar with. He's normally a McLaren person.
Indeed. You have a lot of muscle memory when it comes to sim racing. You can pick it up very quickly again. I think I took nearly a full year break. And the first race I did again with 2S ACC, I ended up in P5 with a car I'd never driven before. So it is possible to perform well on a re-debut, I guess you can call it. But what Sam has in his hands is he has experience, track knowledge, and also he understands what is important right at this point in time in the race. So he will know not to push himself too hard, because he is catching up to Albert and is at a rate that is able to get right up behind him by the time the race finishes. And I think Sam is just focusing on that at the moment rather than thinking about getting the fastest lap every single time he crosses that start-finish line.
You only need to go faster than the person in front of you. You don't need to absolutely smash it every single lap, because that's how issues happen.
Indeed.
That's when you make mistakes.
It's
Not
like
for
playing
Nico
tennis,
Veldman.
I'd say. Whenever I play tennis, because I'm not very good at it, but the top tip I ever got is just return the ball, let the other player make a mistake, and usually that works out well.
Yeah. I haven't played tennis in a long time. I haven't done any sports in a long time, to be honest.
Yeah, I've picked up running again, but I think that's about it. I used to play quite a lot of rugby, but that stopped as well.
I like racing. I like cars.
It's a very good valid
Particularly
point.
building cars.
Yeah, you've had quite a good experience with that at the moment.
That is my hobby now.
Yeah. Man drive car, man build car, man happy.
I am simple, man. Need free thing in life.
I would assume a lot of the other people. Oh my god. It seems that your mic had just had a spasm of some sort.
Oh, what did it do?
It sounded like a scream.
Oh.
Very interesting. I thought you saw something.
No. I did not make that noise.
Alright. Sam Chumley is catching up to Michael Albert, but it seems to be at a slower rate now, as Michael Albert just put a lap time that was 1/10 quicker than Sam Chumley, even though the last few laps have been slower. So it seems Albert has managed to regain his confidence and control over that car, and Sam Chumley is now matching their lap times, which is not enough to make an overtake, but these two could be interesting to watch towards the end. All it takes is one small mistake from Michael Albert, and Sam Chumley will be right up behind him.
Bream also just got overtaken. Them two are still very close. It's a shame, obviously, Jones would have been in that fight as well had he not put slicks on. But he's not left.
It does seem that Achim and Bream have just continued their battle of cat and mouse, sort of just swapping positions constantly, and it seems that Achim at the moment is in front, but Bream, with a great exit, is right up behind Achim again and could potentially make an overtake come this lap or the next one.
Yeah, they're very, very close still. And is still catching slowly. Whether he'll catch in time, we'll see. Depends if he can keep it up as he is now.
Yeah, 15 minutes left, and that looks like a little bit of a mistake from Achim in front. Bream just doing the best he can to follow through on the mistakes that, or not follow through, but to follow Achim, so be close enough to pounce when there's a mistake. Both of them drivers go off track a little bit. His car bounces all over the curbs, and I think there's also another added flavor of Oulton Park is once you get slightly off track. Oh, as you see right there, the car gets thrown around in all sorts of directions. Add a really wet track on top, and you get very tricky conditions that these drivers have been dealing with for the past 45 minutes. And a little bit deep goes Bream. Is he able to recover it on the corner exit? Looks like he's not too... loses a little bit of time there to Achim in front.
Seems to have settled down a little bit now. Obviously, every driver's still pushing hard without dying, which is a lot easier said than done. Rain's still coming down heavier and heavier.
Yeah, we in 2S we like to match the weather conditions to what it looks like in real life, so we will run an AccuWeather check on the forecast the day of the race, and then we will set up the server to match the weather forecast. It won't be perfect, so it won't be like if it's raining for 30 minutes at Oulton Park currently and then stops. It won't stop on the server, but it will be matching sort of the predictions of how much water and how much the percentage of chance of rain and all that, which
Are we still doing that?
I believe we are, yes.
I do like that feature.
Yeah, it brings a bit more of a realistic aspect into the game, and you get some
Means you can
places
track it for a couple of days as well if you want to.
sit in
See
traffic.
roughly what it's going to be like. No, not sit in traffic, like track it, track the weather.
Oh right.
See what it's going to be like a couple of days in advance.
Yeah. Sitting in traffic whilst leaving the racetrack, if that was a feature in sim racing, I don't think anyone would like an open world sim racing game where you are the protagonist and you do everything around. So you get into your car, you drive, and then you have to jump into your van, sit in traffic on the way home, get home, cook yourself dinner, and then next morning do some training.
The next GTA is actually going to be an Assetto Corsa crossover.
Yeah, I'd like to see that happen.
We had fun when we left Silverstone though. The F1 last year. It took us 5 years. Sorry for that. It took us 5 hours to get out of the car park.
Of the car park?
Yeah.
Oi.
We were camping. We packed everything away on the Sunday morning, and when the race finished, we left literally straight away. Well, we did a track walk.
That would be straight away though.
And it took us 5 hours just to get onto a road. It was crazy. The longest I've ever sat in a car. Like, just not moving.
Yeah. I remember that for the 24 hours of Spa, we camped to the Monday, so everyone had left as soon as the race was over, but we decided to do a full track walk. And then just threw a football around or an rugby ball around all night, and everyone had packed up camp, so we had literally had the whole campsite pretty much to ourselves, which was a great feeling. Then the traffic in the morning the next day was non-existent.
It was empty, wasn't it?
It was very empty.
I can't remember if we were planning to stay till the Monday, but I can't remember if we did or not. We might have gone back on the Sunday.
I feel like most of you went back on the Sunday because you had fights to catch.
Yeah. I know we were planning Monday, and then I think everybody wanted like an actual proper shower.
I think that was it. I remember.
That was the best thing when you've been to like camping for a race.
Yeah, the shower when you get home.
It's the best shower you will ever take.
I remember all of us sending pictures of, alright, it's shower time, and then just sending a picture of the shower head being turned on. And the people who hadn't showered getting more and more jealous by each video getting sent through.
Yeah, because you guys were still stuck at the track.
Yeah.
It was a good weekend, though.
Very good.
Anybody gets the chance to go to any endurance race, I would highly recommend you do it.
Yeah. But unfortunately, they've changed the schedule for F1 with Spa 24 because it landed a lot better.
It was a lot better at the end of July than it is at the end of June now.
For sure.
I'm unable to go to it in the end of June.
Yeah, that's the case with most other people as well. It is unfortunate, but especially last year when they already had the track scheduled in and then F1 comes in like which I thought was a bit like, okay, come on. But money is king. F1 is of course going to take the rights, even if it's an event as big as 24-hour Spa. So, but anyways, it looks like Achim made a little bit of a mistake. I thought Priem might be able to pounce a bit on that mistake, but is unable to do so. So stays behind for yet another lap. These two drivers were fighting tooth and nail for the last 30 odd minutes or so.
Yeah, they've been there the whole race, haven't they? Chumley also catching up to. He's now roughly within a second to Albert.
I've been keeping a very close eye on that battle as well.
Especially around a track like Oulton, where it can be tricky to overtake.
That's very true. I think it's probably one of the most trickiest races to overtake in, but the wet weather is, in some cases, aiding them, and in some cases also hindering them. It sort of depends if you are on the receiving end of a mistake or not, pretty much.
But all drivers persevering. Obviously, we've had a few retirements, but that's due to people crashing out and stuff. Big damage. Where you're not really racing for anything left anymore. But everybody's still going strong. Everybody's still trying to race for as much as they can.
Yeah. And the battle between Albert and Sam Chumley getting even more spicy as it continues. Sam Chumley getting right up behind the rear wing of Albert now, and it looks like he might be able to make a move as Albert goes a little bit wide. Is he going to go up the inside into hairpin? A little bit too far behind to do so, but I'm sure he was thinking about it. Albert now has the pressure of that blue and red Ferrari right in his rear mirrors. It's been sort of coming in the last 10 minutes, and it's finally arrived. Albert definitely needs to put on a defensive masterclass to keep Sam Chumley behind him now.
And as them two just got closer, Priem and Achim just got further away. Priem having quite a few squirrely moments on corner exits. Struggling to keep his car going in a straight line.
Yeah, Priem's last lap was a 42.5 and Achim's last lap was a 40.5. So there's a 2-second gap there already on the last lap. So Priem losing out a little bit to Achim and sort of unable to maintain his pace. And it seems that after the pit stops he's been struggling a bit more than Achim. Maybe he got the pressures wrong and Achim got them right. So it could be boiled down to that because Priem was, I would say before the pit stops seemed like the faster driver.
Yeah. And now it seems to have switched up a little bit. So whether Priem changed something and it hasn't worked out, whether he didn't change something and he should have, or maybe he's just maybe a bit fatigued, or the ring getting worse, being even harder to drive in. Could be any of them.
Basically, he has a lot of driver's excuses to use if he doesn't end up passing him.
Yeah, just giving him many of them. Who says we never look out for the community? You know what? Nobody says we never look out for the community. 2S is all for the community.
That's a very true statement. We might not be the best drivers, we might not be the fastest drivers, but we're definitely hell of a community.
We definitely have some serious talent in here as well.
Oh, of course, of course.
I like the mix that we've got.
I was just going to say Sam Chumley is a great example of one of our serious talents, having won 3 times world champions. But then as soon as I was thinking of saying that, he goes off track and makes a mistake and allows Albert to get 1.5 seconds ahead of him. To be fair, to cut Sam some slack, he has been off sim racing for a few months, so I understand where these mistakes come from. But had this been 2 seasons ago, I for sure would know Sam Chumley would be up there with Nico Wellman, if not ahead of him, running the race.
I honestly think if he was in the McLaren now, he probably would be.
Yeah, he set himself up a nice challenge of changing car to the Ferrari.
It spices it up a little bit more.
It does, and Nico Wellman also has a nice challenge of running the Porsche. I remember, I think it was season 6 or 7, me and Nico Wellman were actually, back when we used to do teams at 2S, we were both teammates running at the old Porsche 911, or 992 I believe. And we had a decent amount of success in it. But both of us by the end of the season, alright, never again, never touching that again. And since then, since the new Porsches come out, what was it, a year or so ago, it's been one of my favorite cars to drive.
It's really nice to drive. I drove it for a season. I think season 13 I drove it for. I liked it. It's a bit murdery. It likes to snap out on you, especially under braking.
Yeah.
And with the time I had available to practice, I just couldn't get it under control enough. But it was very fun to drive.
Oh, and Preem's day gets even worse as he catches a drive-through penalty and I think a self-inflicted spin into the barrier from that drive-through penalty. Very unfortunate end to his race. And that is indeed a retirement from Remco Preem. I do apologize for every now and then I'm cutting to Sam and then the camera decides to swap to Mike Jones and Sam into the pit lane. It does seem to be a connection issue with Sam Chumley only. We'll ask him after the race if he was having issues himself, but there's not really anything I can do about that at the moment, I'm sorry.
Absolutely grill him.
Put him into a bit of an interview mode.
Yeah. Interview? That's kind. More like interrogation.
Interrogation, that's the word I was looking for, thank you. I like to say that English is not my first language. It's not my mother tongue, but I have been schooled in English pretty much my whole life, so that excuse is not very valid.
You don't live in an English-speaking country,
no, I do not. So there you go, that's my excuse. I am being un-English-fied.
You also live in a country that also isn't a language you speak.
That's also very true. That is part of the student life. Although I will say I can get by with the language at the moment. I can the day-to-day tasks, or the day-to-day, if you go shopping or you need to order something in a restaurant, or someone asks you a question about the weather, like I'll be able to have a conversation with that. But anything more than normal day-to-day conversations, I struggle.
It's Dutch. Do you not just clear your throat and then they understand what you're saying? It sounds like an extended cough.
If I just sneeze, I would have said a sentence.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're getting a little bit off track, as is in
always
2S fashion. But basically, we're just a bunch of blokes who enjoy racing every now and then.
Yeah.
But really, what's most important is the support for Chelsea Football Club that we have every other week.
Oh, it's absolutely massive. Half of 2S, not quite half, but a lot of the active community members in 2S are Chelsea fans.
And it's just pure coincidence.
And you included. Well, kind of.
I'll support them when you show them play, but they are not my favorite Premier League team.
It's appalling news.
Wait, I'll say second. Maybe the second team to support.
As long as it's not United.
It's not United.
We still accept people who do support United. However, there is a but.
There is a couple of jokes that may be made at your expense.
Oh, definitely. But they'll be used to it. The United fans.
Oh, for sure. We also have quite a decent amount of Liverpool fans, I believe. I think that's probably the second most.
Yeah, I would say so.
And Sam Chumley, I think he is the only Wolves fan I ever known or have heard of.
He is the only one. There isn't others.
But you got
He is a lone wolf.
He is a lone wolf with a Wolf fan. That is very true. But I gotta respect it for being a Wolves fan. That's you know your team's gonna be bottom 10, maybe top 10 if they play well. And you still support them day in, day out. That is a very takes a strong character.
The life of a Chelsea fan.
Well, I wouldn't say life of a Chelsea fan. I just currently I mean, you had a few Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues under your belt. I mean, probably say the same for Wolves.
Only 5 Premier Leagues and 2 Champions Leagues.
Only. Oh, so the drive-through for Samuel Mendes has turned into a stop-go, and I believe that is probably because he has sped in the pit lane with these conditions. Sam Chumley now getting real close behind the back of Michael Albert. It is the final lap as Nico Wellman is just hit the hairpin, and there's only 20 seconds left of the race to go. Is this going to be one of the last opportunities for Sam Chumley to take that P2 position? Will Michael Albert be able to maintain his defensive masterclass? He's running brilliantly, not really cracking under pressure in the second stint compared to the first one when these two were racing. It seems like Michael Albert will be able to maintain his P2 position. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But Nico Wellman coming into the final sector soon. Will have a couple of corners left, and he will win the first 2S race of of season 16 here for the ACC Championship.
He's done very strong today, hasn't he? Dropped off a little bit at the beginning when he went a little bit wide, but come back really strongly after the pit stop. Made basically no issues, and he's finishing well ahead of the car behind.
Yeah, it seems like taking an early pit stop and resetting his mind and having not really any traffic to deal with has been the right call for Nico Wellman as he comes across the final corner and crosses the start-finish line to take the P1 position for the first round here at 2S. But the fight's not over yet for P2. We don't really know who's going to be able to take it. Looks like Michael Albert is far enough ahead of Sam Chumley. Sam Chumley does get a good exit, but he's not too close enough to make anything of it. Michael Albert, what a debut for him at 2S. Pole position and P2. Brilliant showing from the ProTech French driver here today.
Very strong.
And with a little bit of a gap, right, until P4 at the moment. So that's the top 3 crossing the start-finish line with great entertainment throughout the race between those 3 drivers. As Priatko crosses in P4, and then we have Bis, Pali and Achim, both of the two of the drivers yet to finish the race. With Mike Jones in between them, but he is 2 laps down, so it doesn't really matter if he crosses the finish line or not. He will finish last. And there's Maxim Vesplali coming to crossing the start-finish line now in P5 with Stecham Achim, who's put on a brilliant display of racecraft today with the Remco Priem, coming home in P6, and that is the final positions of the first round here at 2S. Season 16 ACC GT3 Championship.
Oh, Mendes got a 60-second time penalty. I do not know.
Oh, so that bumps Mike Jones up into P7. That is a good spot from there. I believe the penalty comes from not having served your stop-and-go penalty, which I think he received on the final, or if not the second.
That was only a 30-second penalty, though.
Yes, but it takes 30 seconds to get in and out the pit lane, so oftentimes if you have that penalty, it will just apply a time penalty at the end of the race to the match.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you everyone who has joined us today on YouTube and watched this broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed. We do go off topic, but that is the nature of 2S. And next season, thinking way too far ahead. When is what's the next race going to be?
It's Misano next.
Misano. Brilliant.
Yeah. We haven't been there in a while.
Yeah, and that's going to be very interesting. And one of my probably more preferred tracks to drive around, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's one of mine as well.
We obviously...
First track I ever drove.
Oh, that's interesting.
First league race I ever did here.
Yeah, first for everything there with Misano. It is also for those 2S veterans who were here. I believe it was season 1. I think it was season 1 even, where there was a massive pileup at Misano, and back then, do you remember the coffin dance meme was in?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's been a meme edit of that pileup, and that is every time Misano is at 2S, that is all I can think of.
Season 1 had a few pile-ups, didn't it? Spa, Sam.
Sam Chumley's claim to fame at 2S. I think it was his second race ever, and he was P2 or P3. I'm not really sure, but somehow managed to cause a pileup involving around 20 cars on lap 1 as well, which was quite entertaining. But and we don't really let him live it down. It does get brought up every now and then, but it's become a staple of 2S history.
Oh, it's definitely nailed in there.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you everyone for listening. We're gonna stop yapping now, and hope you enjoyed the stream and have a nice evening. And see you guys next Monday.